May 25, 1979, a soft, warm spring morning in Manhattan. The sun is just rising between the old buildings, casting long shadows across the quiet streets of SoHo. The neighborhood still feels safe, almost like a small town hidden inside a big city. Parents chat on stoops, kids ride their bikes, and everyone knows everyone. Inside a loft apartment on Prince Street, 6-year-old Etan Patz is buzzing with excitement. It's a big day for him. For the very first time, his mom Julie is letting him walk to the school bus stop alone. It's only 2 blocks away. They've practiced the route. He knows where to cross. He's proud of being trusted. Etan pulls on his striped shirt, blue cap, and favorite sneakers. He gives his mom a quick hug, waves goodbye, and steps out the door. It's a moment that would feel ordinary to any family at the time, but this is the last time anyone who loves Etan will ever see him. When Etan doesn't come home after school, Julie calls the school. They tell her Etan never arrived. Panic sets in. This isn't like him. She calls her husband Stanley, and soon police are on the scene. Officers, neighbors, volunteers, they all pour into the streets. Search dogs comb the blocks, helicopters hover above, officers knock on doors. For 1979, this kind of search is massive, but nothing, no footprints, no clues, no Etan. It's as if the little boy vanished into thin air. The story spreads like wildfire. Flyers are printed by the thousands. Julie and Stanley hand them out with shaking hands, clinging to hope. Etan's smile, frozen in the photo, becomes impossible to ignore. TV stations cover the case constantly. For the first time, a missing child case feels personal to the entire nation. The days turn to weeks. SoHo becomes a neighborhood under a microscope. Police question bus drivers, shop owners, delivery workers, anyone who might have seen a little boy walking alone that morning, but not a single person saw him get on the bus. The neighborhood is tight-knit. People notice things. And yet, somehow, this boy disappeared without a sound. Then, something new happens. Etan's face is printed on milk cartons across America. His disappearance sparks a nationwide movement. Every family starts to see missing children not as statistics but as faces like Etan's. The milk carton kids become a symbol of a new, frightening awareness. For Julie and Stanley, every day is agony. They replay that morning over and over in their minds. Should they have walked with him? Did someone see him before he turned the corner? Where is he? Police narrow their focus to a few suspicious figures in the area. One name stands out, José Ramos. He's a drifter with a history of befriending young boys. He once dated a woman who babysat Etan. When investigators question him, his answers are strange and unsettling. He admits he may have been near the area that day. He says he's interacted with a boy matching Etan's description. But they can't prove anything. No body, no witnesses, no solid evidence. The case stalls. Still, the Patz family refuses to give up. They keep Etan's room exactly the same. They stay in the same apartment, surrounded by memories, waiting for answers. Stanley becomes a fierce advocate for missing children, pushing for change, refusing to let the world forget his son. Years pass. Tips come and go. People claim sightings that lead nowhere. Etan's case remains in the headlines, a painful symbol of how fragile childhood safety can be. Then, in Ijo, José Ramos admits to something chilling. He tells investigators he took a young boy in New York around that time. His story is vague but eerily close to Etan's disappearance. Yet, even with this confession, there's still no body, no hard proof. Ramos is eventually convicted for unrelated crimes against children. But for the Patz family, it's not justice. The years roll into decades, technology advances, cold cases get reopened. And then, more than 30 years after Etan vanished, something unexpected happens. A man named Pedro Hernandez is living in New Jersey, working in a small store. He's quiet, keeps to himself. During a religious prayer meeting in 2012, he suddenly confesses that he hurt a child back in 1979. The police are alerted when detectives bring him in. His story spills out. He says he saw Etan that morning on Prince Street. He says he lured him into a basement of a bodega with the promise of a soda. He says he strangled him, put his body in a box, and left it out with the trash. After decades of uncertainty, it feels like the case might finally have an ending, but there's a problem. There's no physical evidence, no remains, nothing that can prove Hernandez's story beyond his own words. And Hernandez has a documented history of mental illness. Is this a real confession or a fantasy of a disturbed man? Still, prosecutors move forward. In 2015, Pedro Hernandez goes to trial. The courtroom is silent. Julie and Stanley sit in the front row, faces lined with decades of grief. The defense argues that Hernandez is unreliable, that his confession can't be trusted. The prosecution argues that after years of silence, the truth has finally come out. The first trial ends with a hung jury, but the state doesn't give up. 2 years later, in 2017, a second trial begins. Witnesses speak, recordings are played, and this time the jury finds Pedro Hernandez guilty of kidnapping and murdering Etan Patz. He's sentenced to 25 years to life. After 38 long years, the Patz family finally hears the word guilty. It's a moment they dreamed of and dreaded at the same time. But even with a conviction, the case isn't truly over. Etan's body was never found. Some still believe José Ramos was the real killer. Others are convinced Hernandez's confession was the truth. The debate continues even today. What can't be debated is the impact Etan's case left on the world. Before 1979, kids walked to school alone. Parents didn't think twice. Stranger danger wasn't something that dominated headlines. Etan's disappearance changed all of that. Parents began walking their kids to school. Neighborhood watch programs grew, and most importantly, a national movement began. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children was created, changing how missing child cases are handled forever. Etan Patz became the face of that change, not because of what was found, but because of what was lost. Today, Prince Street is just another busy block in Manhattan. People sip coffee, tourists wander, kids walk with their parents. Most don't realize they're standing where a boy's disappearance shook a nation awake. Every year on May 25th, the day Etan vanished, the United States observes National Missing Children's Day. His name is written into history, not as a statistic, but as a child who mattered. Stanley Patz once said, "We have lived with this for so many years, we have no grave to visit, we have no place to lay flowers." Justice, even when it comes, doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't bring Etan home, but because of Etan, countless children were found. Countless families were given tools to fight, to hope, to keep searching. His disappearance changed how America protects its most vulnerable. Etan wasn't just a symbol. He was a little boy with a bright smile, a favorite blue cap, and a dream of walking to the bus stop all by himself. His story is a reminder of how quickly everything can change, how one moment can alter a nation's sense of safety. Like this video and subscribe for more true crime stories that should never be forgotten, because remembering their names keeps their stories alive.